Hi everyone, Sid here back in the bathroom ready for another shaving rant. Today's shaving video is going to be a blog, so it has nothing to do with philosophy or liberty, but this is something that I wanted to get into for reasons I'll get into very shortly. Today's lather will be Pro Razzo Red in a tub, which I will supplement with tea tree oil, and the reason I'm actually naming this is because I've checked it out and I'm almost completely satisfied with how I've worked it out, so I'm finally free of this self-imposed limitation that I can lift at any time and have. But basically you won't be seeing this for a while. So, another thing I wanted to get into, I bought some aftershave after the holidays. So today's aftershave will be Kissna aftershave that I got at the body shop. So for today's video, I would like to talk about one of my favorite movies of all time, which was recently reinvented as a television series. I'm talking about 12 Monkeys, and I think that it's really interesting that two of my favorite all-time movies have Brad Pitt in them, where he's technically in a supporting role, but he ends up stealing the show. I'm talking about Fight Club and 12 Monkeys. But basically I wanted to give my impressions on the TV series, because it gives me, basically launching this series gives me a chance to delve into some of my favorite fiction. I love stories that involve time travel, and I know that my brother, he let me know of this series a couple weeks ago, so I didn't pay much attention to the pre-release hype, so I was really entering this fresh, and when I watched the first episode on Friday, I was really impressed. By the way, fair warning, this video will contain spoilers to both the movie and the first episode. So yeah, I remember when the 2 weeks prior to watching the release, and I was thinking about how they can turn this 2+ hour movie, I mean 2 hours and some change, into a TV series. I wasn't sure what I wanted to see happen, but there were two thoughts in my head that popped up very quickly. The first one was, as long as James Cole ends up being shot dead in front of his 8-year-old self, I'll be happy. And after a bit more reflection, I also realized, you know what? Part of me hopes Jeffrey Goines just won't be in the movie. And I'm glad to see, like, for the how James Cole dies at the end of the series, if at all, who knows? But for the Jeffrey Goines thing, I feel kind of proud that at least someone in the production team of the series agreed with me. Now, Bruce Willis, I know you're watching this. Don't get me wrong, you did a masterful job playing James Cole in the movie, but I think someone else can play James Cole without automatically sucking compared to you. But the same is not true for Brad Pitt's job playing Jeffrey Goines. I think that it would have been a tough gig for anyone to play that role, and I'm kind of glad that well, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't know what to expect, but the simple gender bend of the character and making her a woman and turning her into Jennifer Goines, it really, I think it's a clever move, and I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out. There are a few differences that struck me from well, obviously there are going to be differences between the movie and the TV series, but one of the things that struck me, and I get why, was the remarkable speed with which James Cole convinces Rayleigh that he's not crazy. I mean, in the movie, Catherine Rayleigh spends about 2/3 of the movie convinced that Cole is just some nut job. Although through her sympathy for her patients in general, she herself would object to the term nut job, but that's really what she thinks that he is for most of the movie. Whereas in the first episode, it doesn't even take Cole 10 minutes to at least get Cassandra Rayleigh in at least open to the possibility, and convinces her enough so that she waits around in some hotel lobby for 2 years, or in 2 years, whatever. I'll be right back. So another difference that struck me is I can tell that they're really going to have fun with the time travel stuff in the movie, because like they really have fun. Like, okay, let me organize my thoughts a second. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that struck me is how, unless I'm mistaken, or unless one of the characters in the movie is mistaken, time travel seems to work differently in this series than it did in the movie, because in the movie, when Cole is sitting in front of these scientists, actually Cole is very clear that he cannot save mankind. He can't prevent anything. I mean, when he's in front of those psychiatrists in the asylum, and they say, "So you're here to save the world?" He very clearly says, "How can I save you? This already happened." Whereas in the TV series, Cole is very explicit as to how he's there to prevent the virus from being released. So obviously, it's too soon to tell, but either time travel works differently, or Cole's mission is doomed to fail, and he might end up in some kind of situation like the character in the movie Time Machine, where he goes back in time to save his new fiancée, only to end up watching her die over and over and over again in different ways. So who knows what's going to happen. But I think that it's really interesting that they've given themselves the possibility of modifying the past, because one clear demonstration, which is what Cole does in the first place to convince Rayleigh that he's not crazy, is the watch thing, where he grabs her watch from the future and then scratches her watch from the present, the then present, 2013, and then the future watch gets scratched too, right in front of her eyes. So I don't know what, because it's kind of difficult to go into hypotheticals with the movie, but I don't know if such a demonstration would have been possible in the movie. It certainly would have been possible, since Cole got locked up in a mental institution almost instantly. But I think that the fun that they're going to have with time travel is going to be really interesting to watch. And you can tell just by one of the lines that Cole uses in the episode 1, where he after the whole explosion paradox thing with the watch, he finds another watch, gives it to Cassandra, and he tells her, "Don't lose it, it's going to save our asses again a minute ago." Which is, lines like that are part of the reason why I love stories that involve time travel. But moving on to something else that I find interesting, and it's going to be hard to tell, but the difference struck me right away, because it's such a central theme in the movie, but the theme of sanity is basically absent from the TV series. I mean, the two closest things are Cassandra herself, who ends up losing her practice because she's convinced that Cole is from the future and everyone else thinks she's crazy. But of course, with the introduction of Jennifer Goines at the very end of the first episode, who knows, I really hope that that theme is going to be worked into the series. Because it's it was such a key theme in the movie, leading to one of my favorite moments towards the end, where Catherine Railly is convinced that Bruce Willis is from the future, Cole, and he, on the other hand, thinks that he's crazy and he's looking for help. So before I let you go, I just want to mention another thing that I noticed, which is one of the paradoxes that becomes possible with time travel, and which is why some people don't think it's possible. Frankly, I don't care enough to have a strong position. I think it would be cool, but I can see how things can be fucked up, like going back and killing someone's grandfather before they're born or whatever. But one of the paradoxes that I noticed, and it might have flown over the head of some of you who watch both, the Cole's knowledge of the existence of the Army of the 12 Monkeys and what it is kind of comes from out of nowhere, because basically 2015 Cole learned about it from Leland Goines just before killing him, but Leland Goines learned about it from James Cole. So to illustrate this, if I was to travel back in time, let's say that I knew enough about the theory of relativity to actually teach it and convey it to someone else in a comprehensive way, and I traveled back in time and I explained the theory of relativity to Albert Einstein before he came up with it, then the theory of relativity would have come from out of nowhere, because I learned it by reading Einstein, who learned it by listening to me. So you have that this little circle of knowledge, and then the knowledge is just there in the future. So in case you watched it and missed it, I wanted to point out that, anyway, unless something happens later on to resolve this paradox, you know what, I'm going to plug this. Unless something happens to resolve this paradox, James Cole's knowledge of the Army of the 12 Monkeys just comes from out of nowhere. So I thought that was interesting, and that will be it for today. Yeah, I talked about everything here. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe on YouTube. You can, on Twitter, I'm at SidRockMTL, and my Tumblr is sidrock.tumblr.com. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. You take care.